its worst performance in years. Once at the center of the political scenario in Bihar, the RJD now finds itself in a position where the seat count has collapsed, internal feuds have been laid bare, and the damage is rippling through familial fault lines. The Congress, on the other hand, has launched a sharp critique pointing fingers outward, just not inward. Rather than channeling the blame towards its own shortcomings, many party leaders have signaled discontent with external factors. Of course, Congress is returning to a familiar raga of vote chori and bias of the poll panel, turning a complete blind eye to faults and follies within. Rahul Gandhi himself has struck a defiant tone. He has publicly thanked the millions who backed the India bloc, but claimed the election was not fair to begin with. What has emerged in the backdrop of the elections is a portrait of a weakened Mahagathbandhan, not just electorally but organizationally, strategically. Is it not time for the dynasts like Tejashwi and Rahul to take accountability for what their parties have managed to deliver or not? Will their parties force a rethink, or will they all sing a convenient tune till the next elections? We'll take that up with our guests in just a bit. But take a look at Bihar in numbers. The NDA's total vote share stood at 46.7%, while the opposition alliance had about 37.7%. Within NDA, BJP thumped JDU with even more vote share and indeed more seats as well, 89 versus 85. But the arithmetic worked in such a way that despite greater party vote share, RJD won only 25 seats this time, even though their vote share was 23%. Overall, the Mahagathbandhan was wrapped up in just 35 seats. Clearly, the allies that helped NDA couldn't quite give the same performance for the Mahagathbandhan because their overall vote share was 46.7%, higher than what both JDU and BJP got. That means their alliance partners did the trick, and therein lies the very difference of this entire electoral result. The Bihar results also reflect the failure of the Mahagathbandhan to expand beyond their traditional voter bases, so much so that even in Yadav and Muslim dominated seats, they fared poorly. So of the 50 Yadav candidates fielded by the RJD, only 11 won. The Congress's balancing act of fielding 22 upper caste candidates also failed because none won. Of the 12 EBC candidates fielded by RJD, only 2 won, while the Congress fielded 10 Muslim candidates, out of which only 2 won. AIMIM stole the march here, just like last time around. RJD fielded 15 upper caste candidates and 2 of them managed to win. And of the total 29 EBC, OBC and ST/ST candidates fielded by the Congress, only 4 secured victory. So nothing really worked for the Mahagathbandhan. Now, the Congress says that it is vote chori and irregularities in the electoral process that is responsible for the performance being so bad. It has continued to stick to that charge. It says that it is the bias of the Election Commission that led to the poll debacle in Bihar, and we are bound to hear more of this in days to come. Remember, when he did his last press conference, Rahul Gandhi had already indicated that after Bihar, he will be doing another one and will be able to present proofs of vote chori. Some party leaders have also blamed alleged bribes, quote-unquote, paid by the ruling alliance or the incumbent government to influence voters. They're, of course, talking about especially that 10,000 rupee grant for women in the state. But take a look at this. There were neck-and-neck contests on 10 seats in this election. Out of these 10 seats, the margin where the vote victory margin was less than 1,000 votes, the NDA won 5 of them, and the Mahagathbandhan won 5 of them. So can the Mahagathbandhan claim that the electoral process was against them? Take a look at some of these close contests. In Sandesh, the margin was just 27 votes, with JDU's Radha Charan Sav defeating the RJD candidate. But in many other states, in many other seats, it's the Mahagathbandhan that won these close contests. So electoral rigging is not really a charge that is made out. In Dhaka, for example, RJD's Faisal Rahman won over BJP's Pawan Kumar Jaiswal with a margin of just 178 votes. In Phobsganj, Congress candidate Manoj Biswas won over Vijay Sagar Keshwari of the BJP by just 221 votes. Similar scenes played out in Chaitpura, where Congress candidate Abhishek Ranjan won over the BJP candidate Umakhand Singh by a little over 600 votes. In Jahanabad, RJD candidate Rahul Kumar won over Chandeshwar Prasad by just 793 votes. Also, can they blame others or even the EC when their own friendly fights in as many as 11 seats meant that the NDA won on all of those seats, bringing their tally down further, even on seats that they had won the last time around? This time Mahagathbandhan scored a 0 as far as those 11 seats are concerned where there was an RJD Congress or the Mahagathbandhan friendly fight. So why blame others when you didn't have your own house in order? Meanwhile, what's happening in RJD? Lalu clan is witnessing a big fallout. It began with a tweet by Lalu's daughter Rohini Acharya saying that she's quitting politics, severing ties with the family. She alleged mistreatment, humiliation and even physical abuse. Reason she gave was Tejashwi Yadav's aide Sanjay Yadav and Rameez Alam being responsible for pushing her out. Ousted from the family already, Tej Pratap has come in Rohini's defense. Reports such as 3 more of Lalu's daughters, Rajalakshmi, Ragini and Chanda, have also left the family's Patna residence and have travelled to Delhi, signalling possibly a bigger rupture within the family unit. However, Lalu or Tejashwi, even Rabri, even Nisa have not commented on the developments yet. There was some stock-taking meeting that was held of the RJD. We'll get you more when we have. Now, I also want to break down the numbers of these elections a little bit further now that the dust has settled. Women were the theme of these elections and no doubt NDA benefited from their votes. But did women candidates also win? There were 88 total women candidates that were fielded by various parties. 29 of them won, roughly 32%. BJP fielded 12, 10 won. JDU fielded 13, again 10 of them won. 3 out of 6 for LJP, both for HAM. One from RL, both candidates of the HAM won, one from RLM won, and only 3 out of 24 fielded by the RJD won. In 2020, 26 women were elected. So in 2025, it has risen to 29, indicating only a slow but a steady rise in women's representation, still below 10% of the assembly though. Another question in these elections is how to read Prashant Kishore's performance. On one hand, he got 0 seats, on another, a respectable vote share. Suraaj backed 16.77 lakh votes out of more than 5 crore cast in these elections. PK's party can be called a bronze medal winner. Why? Because it finished third in 129 constituencies, which is over 54% of the seats that it actually contested in. On average, the party received over 7,000 votes per seat. It stood fourth in 73 seats. Suraaj has outperformed several old players in terms of vote share. It has more than the BSP, the AIMIM and the left parties. And JSP influenced results in as many as 35 constituencies where the number of votes polled by its candidates equaled or exceeded the margin of victory. So can they be called a complete zero this election? All that and more coming up in our debate. But our focus continues to be on how damage control is going on within the Mahagathbandhan. Should the diners be able to evade accountability one more election? That's coming up.
आप ये बात जाकर के तेजस्वी यादव किसके शहर पे हुआ है उनसे जाके पूछिए, संजय यादव से पूछिए, रेचल से पूछिए, रमेश से जाके पूछिए।
हमारी बहन का जो अपमान करेगा कृष्ण का सुदर्शन चक्र चलेगा।
जो परिणाम है लोग उससे खुश नहीं है, पर राहुल और प्रियंका मेहनत करते रहेंगे।
जो अपने परिवार को समेट के नहीं रख सकते, वो बिहार को कैसे चला सकते?
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Guru Prakash Paswan, national spokesperson of the BJP, Pooja Tripathi of the Congress Party with us, Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist, and also Sandeep Shastri, national coordinator, Lokniti Network, also joining us. Sandeep ji, I begin with you. What do you make of the kind of noises that are coming out within the RJD? Do you think this is an existential moment for the RJD, or would that be overstating the results too much?
Shivani, always there are a lot of people who want to own up for a victory, but then when there is a defeat, everybody wants to disown the defeat. Now, it is not uncommon that when a party or alliance loses the election, the infighting within a party, the dissent within a party, the discord within an alliance then comes out in the open. And it's not that only after the election the discord within the RJD family is
Exactly.
seen. This was there. These voices and noises were there even before the during the campaign and
Yes.
even before. It's only that once the results are out, the knives are out, because, as I said, when there is a defeat, then nobody wants to take ownership for the defeat and uses the opportunity to blame the one who led the campaign.
No,
I'm
but-
not therefore saying that there is no truth in what is being said, but then it is at such moments that these disputes often come out in the open, and we have seen this in the past also.
No, nothing succeeds like success, and success would paper over whatever cracks are there within any party, and all parties have them to a certain extent. But before I open this up, Sandeep Shastri, don't you think it's very telling of, you want to call it regional parties or parties based around families? Then there is always the same theme that plays out. That, you know, there is this one leader of the family anointed as the heir. That heir gets surrounded either by their own loyalists or bad advice. Even party, veterans fail to get in touch with that leader. It's the same story that plays out. Even for, such crucial elections, if these family-based parties can't look beyond this way of functioning, it would naturally spell their doom against an election machinery of the BJP.
Shivani, if you leave out the BJP and JDU, this is a challenge which plagues all political parties. Maybe JDU, maybe BJP, maybe left parties if you leave them out. This is a challenge all state-based or other national parties also face. It's just that in a moment of defeat, these challenges come out. We noticed something similar in the LJP when they lost and the uncle and brother broke up. We have had this in the HAM also. So this is a common phenomenon in Indian politics where dynasties play a role, and save the parties I just now mentioned. Otherwise, this challenge is there across the board. But it gets the spotlight of attention, especially in a moment of defeat, because we tend to attribute the defeat to the fact of dynasty.
Okay, so do you believe that these parties need to look beyond it? Indian election machinery or results have changed? Or do you feel this is not because of their functioning, the reasons are elsewhere to lie, regardless of how they function, dynasty, not dynasty, trusted aides, not trusted aides, high command culture, no high command culture? This has not to do with the result lies somewhere else.
Shivani, beyond a shadow of doubt, all the parties which have faced a rout in this election need to do a searching review of their strategies, of their parties, of their organization. Because if we continue to have the ostrich in the putting its head in the sand approach, saying all is okay, I don't think any movement forward or any improvement in the days to come would be possible. So a searching review is, and an open, transparent searching review that seeks to find a solution and not to find somebody to put the blame on, I think is important for all those, whenever there is a defeat, to actually undertake.
Okay, and yet look at what's happening. Pooja Tripathi in the Congress party, there is nobody willing to say, okay, we're going to look internally. I'm not saying anybody from the party is going to come out and openly, pull out knives for Rahul Gandhi, who seems to have tanked the campaign for the Congress and maybe for the RJD as well. But nobody is even willing to say, okay, we need to look internally. All blame lies externally of the Congress party.
And how can you come to this conclusion that we are not willing to look inside. There are continuous meetings going on at Congress President home. Our candidates, our karyakartas, our state president, everybody's part of that meeting. It's not public, as I said this on the election day too. The winners take all the glory songs and losers take all the brickbats. Brickbats are welcome on our part. But what has come out? You just showed two neck-to-neck fights of 600 and 700 by vote margin. The RJD candidate won. We didn't tell him. In 2020, they won by 51,000 and 41,000 votes. And that has shown, this is not a Congress data. This is not a Bharatiya Janata Party. This is data. The post-poll analysis goes on to show that, sir, the 174 seats which saw the massive deletions in the SIR exercise, 97 goes on to NDA. What is the Ram Rajya model that NDA has promised? Let me ask you, Shivani, something very 90% strike rate. Isn't it something unusual? These 91 seats out, in 2020, 75 were with Mahagathbandhan.
No, can I just ask you, because, exactly, you proved me right, that all blame is lying with the SIR, with the vote deletion. In 2010 also, BJP had a similar strike rate. It had 90 plus seats, 80 plus seats. That time in 2010, it was left out of the governance because there was this whole Mahagathbandhan started in Bihar in 2010 and everybody else allied against it. It was the single largest party. And in 2010, it was the UPA in power at the center. The election commission, quote unquote, even though it's an independent body, worked under the UPA government. And how did BJP do so well in 2010?
Let me complete now. When I talk about the margins, the margins and the deletions are for everyone to Nangaga. The margin of winning is 25 seats. 12,500 were the voter deletions in SIR. The last time
how do you know they voted for you, those who have been deleted, and where are they?
I'm not saying they voted for you. I am saying out of 95 seats, the 75 which were strong RJD old, they are just reduced to, those have been transferred to NDA. If these numbers don't tell you otherwise, if you
these numbers tell, if in all humility they were to be taken, these numbers tell us that NDA got its arithmetic right better than you. You couldn't get anyone outside of your Yadav Muslim vote bank to vote for you. Why are you only talking about the NDA seats? The AIMIM also maintained its strike rate, right? Or its seats. They also managed to win 5 of those Simanchal seats that are Muslim dominated.
That were traditionally RJP, the RJD strongholds, they've been taken over by NDA.
So do you believe that traditional strongholds of a party are some khairat, that those parties will always have them as traditional strongholds?
Bilkul nahi, I'm saying that it's a khairat. Let's take about the Kodhari seat of Muzaffarpur. It was an RJD 2 times 616 winning margin NDA. The voter deletions was 24,000. The sitting RJD MLA, before the poll results, he said that he had taken 40% of the deletions were deleted on the basis of migrant IDs.
Yes.
And that's not happened. They have their votes there and he personally achieved, personally complained it. That's what I'm saying. When you disenfranchise, when you target a particular section, okay, let's talk about what...
0 appeals filed, 0 people coming out in the open in today's day of social media, 24/7 news coverage. Not a single person has come out forward to say that my vote was legitimately there but cut out. Not a single migrant of Bihar has said this either in Bihar or any other state. I'm sorry, but this is exactly maybe what the public is getting fed up of.
3 lakh plus voters added to it after the poll result. Where does this number of 1.88 lakh duplicate voters come up? There's an Aaj Tak reporter who is saying that the Bharatiya Janata Party member has said कि पपीते का फल का दूध लगा लेने से वो मिट जाता, and he went again and there's independent voters. There's a trace that has been flogged up from Haryana with BJP patkas. At least I have 10 names: Ranjan Thakur, Nagendra Kumar, Prabhat Kumar, Santosh Roja, Sanjay Jha, Ajit Kumar, Uday Kumar. And common factor among these are...
So you lost because of electoral rigging. That's all I hear from you. I began by asking you why not make any kind of internal assessment. You said it will be made, but it will not be for public display. Fine, fair enough. In public display, for media display, all that is coming out from the Congress Congress party is, we didn't lose because of our own problems, that we couldn't figure out seat sharing on time, we had friendly fights, we couldn't decide the chief minister's face on time, our vote chori campaign didn't work on ground, our prime face Rahul Gandhi was missing for 60 days on ground. None of that matters. Your own party workers contested and beat up your leaders for selling tickets. In RJD, their own family members are talking about tickets being sold, but none of that matters. None of that matters. Okay. VIP party, your key alliance partner that was even given a deputy chief ministership has struck zero, hasn't even managed to give you any votes. Okay, fine. Everybody else is responsible. Guru Prakash Paswan, please come in.
No, Shivani, I was patiently listening to the observations of the Congress spokesperson. Let me break this down for you and your viewers. So, Mr. Rahul Gandhi came to Bihar. He moves across the country and keeps saying, "Kahan hai EBC, OBC, SC, ST? Kahan hai EBC, OBC, ST, ST?" So, let me break this up for you. So, Mr. Rahul Gandhi came out with an EBC agenda before the Bihar elections. You would very well remember. Out of 61 seats, how many EBCs did they field? Very marginal, very inconsequential. Number one. You look at the OBCs, the Mahagathbandhan, the India Alliance, they refused a symbol to son of a socialist icon who gave Lalu Yadav political patronage, who Lalu Yadav used to consider a political mentor. Socialist icon, Sharad Yadav's son was denied a ticket, but instead of that, son of a Bahubali, a man who institutionalized the idea of Masr in politics, Shahabuddin, his son was given a ticket. Now you look at the Muslim. As far as the Muslim vote bank is concerned, they always kept saying that we'll have a Muslim deputy CM, we have a Muslim deputy CM, but they did not promise anything concrete on that front as well. Had I been RJD, I would have made an alliance with AIMIM, but they did not do such. They did not welcome any move. And look at the scheduled tribes. A political party that represents the aspiration of scheduled caste, JMM, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. So as a political pundit, as a political so-called self-declared Chanakya, you have deserted your marginalized section, the EBCs, the OBCs and the Muslims are the scheduled tribes. They're only for optics. You would very well remember, Shivani, Mr. Rahul Gandhi visited the home of mountain man, Dashrath Manji. He promises a ticket to son of Dashrath Manji. He said, "Hum aapko Bodh Gaya se Congress ka symbol denge." That poor man, he went to Delhi, but Rahul Gandhi did not have chance, did not give him an appointment at all. Point number one. Point number two, Shivani, you do a great amount of disservice when you put such allegations on the people of Bihar. We people of Bihar, we consider ourselves political conscious. Our political consciousness is relatively more than the other part of the country. It is a given point. Okay. But when you say, you bought our votes, when you said ECI has rigged, it's the very same case like as children, we used to play cricket and we were out, we refused to say we were out. You have to accept the verdict of the empire. Okay.
But do you want to respond, Guru Prakash, do you want to respond on this SIR, this whole calculation that is being done by many, that if you look at the seats where SIR had most deletions, there, the BJP or the NDA has scored more because you've deleted a certain number of legitimate voters?
No, Shivani, I think you have answered this question yourself when you said that there were zero claims, there were zero objections filed. In fact, I would go a step ahead and say that the local level RJD workers, the local level Congress president at the district level, they participated in the SIR process and they were completely satisfied with this entire process. Had there been any doubt, an iota of doubt, they would have gone ahead and appealed, but there were no appeals at all. So look at what the Congress leadership at the top level, Mr. Robert Vadra is saying, and look at what the Congress Aurangabad president, the Congress Darbhanga president is saying. There is absolutely no connect at all. I would say again, to this extent that Bihar is a politically conscious state. Bihar is the land of mother of democracy. Bihar is the land of Vikramshila. Bihar is the place where the first voice of resistance against the emergency rose in the leadership of Lok Naik Jayaprakash Narayan.
So is the SIR excuse being taken just too far to act as a cover for what is internally the problem, Rashid Kidwai? How do you read at the Congress's response? It's not new that we're discussing it, but it seems more of the same. Like Rajiv Shukla comes out and says, oh, look, Rahul Gandhi got credit for 99 seats in 2024 elections. He did Bharat Jodo Yatra. Clearly, there was some impact of it. Statistically, you could argue both ways, but fine, he worked on the ground, there was some impact of it. In this case, he went and did a voter adhikar rally. His whole focus ahead of the elections was on SIR or on vote rigging, and it didn't work. So if he gets credit for 2024 increasing of the tally, why shouldn't he not get the blame this time?
Shivani, I think the emphasis or the focus or spotlight on the Congress and Rahul Gandhi relating to Bihar verdict is slightly exaggerated and misplaced. Here is a political party that has not had any imprint, political heft since 1989. 1989 was the year when the Congress had last that Bhagwat Azad as the chief minister. Since then, Shivani, perhaps older than your age, you see the Congress has been politically zero in Bihar. And that is a stark reality. It's been a number 4, number 5, number 6 political party. And therefore, if there is it's not a justification of what Congress didn't do at all, but the whole focus was on RJD. Had RJD done much more, then perhaps, the Congress was a contributory party. It is not to say that, the Congress is not to be blamed, but I think the blame should also come in proportion.
But sir,
not
but
entirely.
Sir, no, Rashid
the
Kidwai,
Congress is a poor alliance builder.
No, one second. One is, just because you haven't been doing well doesn't mean that you're okay with that fate, right? The party has to work doubly, triply harder if you've lost ground. Is the Congress doing that in state after state, where it has lost out either to BJP or to regional players? That's a big question for Congress's future. Secondly, if you contest 60 plus seats, you can't say that you're a marginal player. Then you don't contest on 61 seats.
Out of 243, 60, that is to be understood, but that is not in defense of Congress. I am saying the Congress is a poor, alliance builder. The kind of focus that you were talking about, whether it was a vote chori allegation or unemployment, talking point, chief ministerial candidate, all this the Congress cannot escape. Just one very quick point, Shivani. You see, the political parties and Congress in particular have a very poor track record of accountability and transparency. You'll be surprised. And my dear friend, the Congress spokesperson, is there. This is not antagonized, but a matter of fact. That there are 4 Anthony Committee reports that are gathering dust at 24 Akbar Road. One of the report was way back in 1996. Again, 1996, the entire new generation of voters have come and voted. So therefore, I'm saying these are complex problems, because you see the buzzword in the Congress at present is that Bihar was not our election. Now let us look at Kerala, let us look at Assam, where the Congress has some stake and do that. This is RJD, and they messed it up in a big way. What can we do?
Sandeep Shastri, what's the way forward for these parties if they really were to assess how, if you were indeed asked for an advice, what would your advice be?
I think Rashid ji is right that the Congress believes that they were a junior player in Bihar, and now the stakes are high for them, especially in Assam and in Kerala, where elections happen next year. And I think the question is, in the past also, after a defeat, everybody thought that there would be a soul searching, that there would be a change. But what we often saw is a superficial change, saying that it was collective responsibility, not putting the blame squarely on people who led the campaign or who were the strategists for the campaign. So let's also remember, next year, not only is there Assam and is there Kerala, there is also Tamil Nadu and there is West Bengal. In Tamil Nadu, they are again, like in Bihar, a junior partner in an alliance.
In West Bengal already they have suffered.
And in West Bengal, they have been pushed to the sidelines by the Tribunal Congress. So I think unless the Congress as a national party re-strategizes, is willing to face the realities, are willing to take the bull by the horns, I think a mere superficial exercise of saying we have done a review, as Rashid ji himself said, there is a report way back in 1996 which is still waiting implementation. It's not that people do not know what is the change that is needed, but will the party
do the change?
Be bold enough to take those changes, or risk going forward in the same manner? I think that is the difficult question which the leadership of the Congress would need to address.
Yes, one is whether you're willing to do that soul searching and implement the changes needed. The second is, are you also willing to not harp on what is seemingly going wrong for you, but you haven't been able to prove it? We'll wait and see whether the Congress doubles down on this entire SIR and vote chori campaign. Rahul Gandhi certainly had indicated he will continue to do so. But I'll leave it at that. I do thank our guests for joining us. Moving on, trouble seems to be mounting for former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Months after the coup that forced her escape, the International Crimes Tribunal has ordered death penalty to the former PM and 2 senior aides of committing crimes against humanity. The court found Hasina guilty on 3 counts: incitement of violence, the order to kill, and of inaction, concluding a months-long trial that found her guilty of ordering a deadly crackdown on a student-led uprising last year. Here's what happened during the proceedings. The tribunal noted that Hasina is guilty of ordering use of lethal force against protesters, observed that there was inaction on Hasina's part, resulting in the deaths of more than 1,400 people. She was found guilty on the counts of incitement, orders to kill, and failure of control. Former Home Minister A.K. Kamal has also been sentenced to death along with her, while former Police Chief Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamoon has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Considering that an appeal must be lodged within 30 days of verdict, after which the appellate decision has to dispose it off within 60 days, the problem is that in Hasina's case, she has been declared ineligible for challenging the verdict. The reasons being, Hasina, who's currently in India, has defied the tribunal's orders to face trial for ordering the crackdown on the student-led movement. The accused cannot avail the right to appeal while on the run, and according to the law, a convict must be arrested or surrender to authorities to qualify for filing any appeal before the appellate division of the SC. A statement from India's Ministry of External Affairs has acknowledged that it had noted the verdict. It emphasized that as a close neighbor, India remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh, including in peace, democracy, inclusion, and stability. Well, this is certainly something that India would be watching out very closely, because even as a death sentence has been given out for the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and there are questions whether she can fight back or not, India's relationship with Bangladesh are also on the line here, because India has given shelter in exile to Sheikh Hasina.
যে রায় ঘোষণা করেছে, এ রায়কে বাংলার জনগণ প্রত্যাখ্যান করে। এই রায়কে বাংলার জনগণ মানে না, মানবে না।
First up, I want to go across to Mohibul Hassan, former Bangladesh minister and former aide of Hasina, who's joining us. Mr. Hassan, the fact that Sheikh Hasina is not even eligible for any appeal, what is the road forward for her and for individuals like you who continue to stand by her?
You see, the entire process from the very beginning was illegal. The interim government never had the mandate to make any change in the law which the 1973 Parliament enacted. And this court itself was formed to try the cases of 1971 war crimes, the genocidal crimes committed by Pakistan Army. Now they want to whitewash what the tribunal was formed for. And by including an illegal ordinance into the tribunal's procedure, they have tried us. And this law itself is illegal because there's no parliament sitting. They don't have any right to change the law. Secondly, when this sham trial began, our leader, Sheikh Hasina, she of course wanted to represent herself. Some of the senior lawyers of Dhaka court, they wanted to fight on her behalf. They were all denied. They were not allowed to appear on her behalf. So it was a one-sided trial from the very beginning. No legal representation made. The state has purportedly appointed an attorney. Is a fraudulent process, and it is an illegal court.
Now what? Now what happens? How do you and Sheikh Hasina take this forward?
Well, you see, we are convinced and confident that majority of the people are with us. We have recently called for a lockdown, and the people of Bangladesh have voluntarily taken part in it. And they want a free and fair election, which includes all the political parties in the country. These people the interim regime, they're concerned and scared about the public support, which they feel is still in our favor. If they are to hold an election tomorrow across the country, we are confident that we will gain more than 50% of the vote shares. So this is why they have ran this trial in a hasty manner and fast-tracked the conviction so that none of our leaders can stand in election. They have banned the party, they have banned its activities, but they are very scared that we will be standing independently. Even if the party is banned, so they want to convict as much as possible, which is why they ran this sham trial. So we will continue to fight. We will continue to protest. Not just India. I mean, you mentioned Indian Foreign Ministry's reaction on this. Many of our colleagues, our activists, have taken shelter in many countries in the world, from the US, UK to France and Australia. Governments there have acknowledged what is going on in Bangladesh and given them asylum. So they know the human rights situation is grave there. Minorities are under attack, ethnic minorities are under attack, Awami League and secular liberal individuals of society, not just politicians, from singers to spiritual leaders, all are fearful of their lives because this regime wants to turn Bangladesh into East Pakistan. We will not let that happen.
You will not let that happen, but you will do that via protests on the streets in Bangladesh?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. 90% of our activists are still out there. Many of our colleagues are in jail. Some are abroad. But that doesn't mean that the party has vanished. The electorates of the party, the constituency of the party has gone. So we have the support of the people and we will continue to fight for our rights and we'll continue to fight for democracy. It's not a lot that we're asking for. We are asking for an elected government.
And a free and fair election. Fair enough.
Absolutely.
But what is your expectation from India in this regard, given relationships between the two countries, their neighbors, of course, and the relationship that Sheikh Hasina has with India?
You see, India will do what any reasonable government would have to do, which is to look at the whole process, whether it was fair or and neutral. None of the countries across the world would consider this process as a fair process, whatever has happened in that particular tribunal. So India is not going to listen to the extradition request. For any extradition to happen, the requesting country must show that fair trial took place. No one in Bangladesh, within the legal community, nor in the civil society, believe that the process was fair. And therefore, India has nothing to respond to. So what India has responded by way of its reaction is guarded. It shows that they do not they want good relationship with Bangladesh, but it is the current regime of Bangladesh which continues to make India hostile by hosting Pakistani generals in the country, by hosting Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed leaders in Bangladesh. Maulana Fazlur Rahman is in Bangladesh, by releasing the militants from the prisons of Bangladesh. So it is the responsibility of the current regime to change the dynamics of relationship with Bangladesh. It is Muhammad Yunus who had claimed that greater Bangladesh will be achieved by taking over certain states of India. So they are the ones who are escalating the situation.
Absolutely.
And
no,
therefore
absolutely.
They must leave. They must be ousted. That is our target.
When it comes to hostilities, certainly it has been Bangladesh the aggressor, both in statements and in actions. But finally, Mr. Hassan, before I let you go, you are confident that you can turn this situation around in Bangladesh?
We've done that in the past. We've fought military regimes, dictatorial regimes for 21 years before. And in 1996, we were able to win people's mandate. So we are well versed in our fights. And we've done that in the past. And as I say this to you, to your audience, we are confident that Bangladesh will return back to the progressive, secular, liberal path that it took in 1971, and no one can deviate us from there.
Okay. Mohibul Hassan, thanks a lot for joining us. Let's open this up to our other guests also with us. I want to go across to Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhary, who's a Bangladeshi journalist, also Smriti Patnaik, research fellow at IDSA, is also with us. Salahuddin Chaudhary ji, you must have heard what Mr. Hassan said. Is there that sentiment still prevailing in Bangladesh that all is not lost and this situation can also be overturned, that the fight will not be given up despite the fact that, you know, the Awami League is banned, its leaders are now being sentenced to death, and the climate that is prevailing in Bangladesh?
Thank you very much, Shivani ji. Possibly Yunus and his colleagues, they are considering every Bangladeshi as people with only Quranic education, having no education, no ability of understanding everything in the global context. Now, Yunus, after assuming the office, Ivaniji, he proclaimed, he publicly announced of taking the case against Sheikh Hasina in the International Criminal Court. But later he backed down because there are no evidence, no substances of taking the case to ICC. And at that moment, he immediately passed another law by empowering this ICT. ICT was formed in 1973 to try the war criminals, the collaborators of Pakistan. So now he has empowered it to try his opponents, including Sheikh Hasina. Another thing, when Sheikh Yunus is talking about Sheikh Hasina committing crime against humanity, last year he gave indemnity to the jihadists and Islamists and so-called students who murdered police, civilians, and Awami League leaders. In one hand, you are saying that Sheikh Hasina committed crimes against humanity. She must face trial. Yes, in that case, why he did give indemnity to the other side who killed police, members of law enforcement agencies, Awami League leaders, and Hindus?
I understand that. We've discussed, in pretty much every length why this is happening in Bangladesh. I want to understand from you, are you confident that this can be fought, given that the entire machinery is against Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League right now?
No, entire machinery or entire country, nothing is like that.
Okay.
I'd like to humbly tell you that my country is not at this moment into the hands of 180 million Bengalis. We are being hijacked by the foreign forces, more precisely Pakistan, Pakistani ISI, and Islamists and jihadists, and we are helpless in the grips of these Islamists, jihadists, and foreign mercenaries.
Okay. I want to go across to Smriti Patnaik as well. How do you read this situation? How concerned should India be?
I think this verdict was very predicted. It was very expected. So it was not surprising at all that the verdict came as a death sentence. He has been being tried in absentia.
Yes.
As far as India is concerned, you must have seen, a few days back, India's Deputy High Commissioner was called to the Foreign Office to say that Hasina's interviews to various media outlets, including both in India and also internationally, should be stopped. Of course, India has its own position that, she is free in a sense. She can speak to whatever media, and India doesn't have any kind of role in that, in her interviews, because this is the age of social media. If you have a mobile phone, you can give replies in the email. You can put posts in Facebook, in the, in the X. So in a sense, so India's position has been very, very different. And this entire pressure that India must hand over Hasina to Bangladesh because we have an extradition treaty with Bangladesh, I would say that Hasina came here, not that India sent any helicopter to bring her here. She came in Bangladesh's army's helicopters. So the question is that why did the army decided to send her to India? So the question should be asked also to the Bangladesh army, rather than asking India all the time that, the extradition treaty is there, she must be extradited, that kind of thing. So therefore, right kind of question needs to be asked. And Bangladesh for the past...
I want to understand from you, Ms. Patnaik.
Yeah.
India does its diplomacy in a very understated manner. Even though it's the big country in the subcontinent, it doesn't want to appear as either meddling with any other country or bullying any other country. But I want to ask you, given Yunus's posturing against India, even targeting India's territorial integrity, which is a red line for India, do you expect that India will be again understated and diplomatic in this context, or will India go hard against Bangladesh in this case?
I think I was just coming to that, you know, the kind of statement that was emanating from interim regime, not just from Yunus, but also from some of his advisors who have been putting post in the X claiming some of the Indian territory, and the recent incident of when the JCSC chief from Pakistan was visiting Bangladesh. A particular booklet was provided to him with a kind of map that includes Indian territory, and completely obviously this has not gone unnoticed from the from the eyes of the Indian government. It recognizes what the Bangladesh government is the interim regime is up to. But given the kind of circumstances, as we know, we need to make a distinction between the government and the people and the larger interests of both in India and Bangladesh. So all the time, probably, a statement is not possible, or probably, India does not want to go for tit for tat for each statement that emanates from Dhaka. Because recently you must have seen, since Safiqul Alam's statement of bootlicking journalist also was condemned by India's press club. So, such kind of statement, I think, coming from that is not friendly at all. Though today, the statement from the Foreign Office says that this will be continuous providing asylum to Sheikh Hasina will be considered as an unfriendly act. So such kind of statement has come. But I think the elections are coming. In February, the election is going to be held. Let's wait till the election and let us get a government which is elected by the people of Bangladesh.
Yes, and certainly in that meantime, there is absolutely no relenting or no abandoning of Sheikh Hasina that can be expected from India. But Mr. Chaudhary, I'll just give you 30 final seconds. Is there any pressure internally on the Yunus administration to at least appear to be free, fair, and to be able to conduct free and fair elections? What kind of pressure exists on them internally?
There are 45 million voters as Awami League supporters in this country, and 4 crore voters in this country. So what Yunus is doing, he wants to keep the entire bundle of Awami League supporters and voters out of the election, and also he wants to keep the leftist parties and other parties out of the vote. He only wants to allow the Islamists in the election, though election is not going to be held under Yunus. So with this scenario, Yunus is actually under tremendous pressure, even from the Islamists, to hold the election. For example, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, they are putting pressure on Yunus to hold the election by February. And if he has to hold the election by February, next month, 5th of December, he has to hand over power to the Election Commission, because as per provisions of the country, that Yunus is not going to do. So Yunus is going to create atmosphere and situation to justify his remaining in power indefinitely and never holding power election.
And will that lead to another revolt of sorts, another revolution of sorts, street protests in Bangladesh? Now that's the situation that needs to be watched out for. I do thank both of our guests for joining us. We're getting in some breaking updates in connection to the Delhi terror blast. Continuing with its probe into the Red Fort car bomb, now arrested another key associate of the terrorist involved. Jasir Bilal Wani, also a Kashmiri resident, has been arrested from Srinagar by NIA. Investigations have revealed that Jasir had allegedly provided technical support for carrying out terror attacks by modifying drones and attempting to make rockets ahead of the deadly car bomb blast, which eventually killed 13 people and left dozens injured. My colleague Ankur Sharma is joining us with more details on this. Ankur, tell us more about this suspect.
Yeah, Shivani, so this is the fresh development from the NIA, and NIA investigation so far has arrested 2 persons in the case, and this is the second accused who has been arrested by NIA, Jasir Bilal Wani alias Danish. So he has been arrested by NIA today, and importantly, the kind of investigation which the role which NIA found in this particular case, according to the NIA, Bilal was modifying drones and attempting to make rockets ahead of Delhi blast. So it also shows the gravity of the preparation this white collar terror module was doing and certainly the plan was much bigger than the Delhi blast only. And according to the sources, in coming days also there are multiple raids going on in across the various multiple states, including UP, Delhi, and Jammu and Kashmir. According to the sources also, the NIA is closely coordinating with all these state police and conducting raids. Vani's father also died by suicide on Sunday after allegedly cops called him for interrogation. And certainly this in this particular case, this is the second arrest. Earlier, yesterday only, the NIA arrested Amir Rashid Ali, who actually helped the driver, Dr. Umar, who was driving the car and finally got blasted at Delhi.
Leaving it at that, I do thank you for joining us. We'll keep coming back to you for more. So as more unravels, it's clear a much bigger plot has been averted by the agencies. Thanks a lot for watching Plain Speed. The Right Stand is coming up.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
We're now getting you a CNN News 18 exclusive news break. We're learning that the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has now issued a firm denial after a video of him surfaced online claiming that he'd said that more Hindus are joining the ISIS than Muslims. Doval has now told CNN News 18 that he never made such a statement, calling this viral clip a likely deep fake that was aimed at manipulating public opinion. Doval has also told CNN News 18 that the media tools are now being used to distort national security. So putting everything on record, there is NSA Ajit Doval speaking to CNN News 18 and also talking about how this video that is purportedly attributed to what he'd said, claiming that more Hindus are joining ISIS, is probably a deep fake, and he never said such a thing. My colleague Siddhant is with us on the broadcast. Siddhant, NSA Doval making things clear and also putting into perspective this particular video that's been doing the rounds, possible deep fake.
Well, that's right. In fact, NSA Doval has spoken to CNN News 18, and in fact, NSA Doval issues categorical denial flags over this deep fake video getting circulated. In fact, NSA Ajit Doval has clarified that he never made this statement claiming more Hindus are attracted to ISIS than Muslims. He indicated that the circulating clip is likely a deep fake manipulation. Doval, in fact, told CNN News 18 that media tools are now being used to distort national security. The clip surfaced in the middle of increased geopolitical tensions and domestic polarization. He says that this is an attempt to target India's counter-terror narrative. Such a fabricated statement directly attacks India's long-standing counter-terrorism position. This is against ISIS recruitment in India, has been limited, monitored, and inspired by global jihadi propaganda. The deepfake appears designed to inflame domestic political divides by falsely suggesting that the NSA is making communal comparisons. The operation fits the broader pattern of AI-generated misinformation campaigns. So in fact, in the past also, Manoj Gupta has been reporting on this particular subject, that how Pakistan, ISI perhaps has been, making such deepfake videos, perhaps with the aim to do communal divide in India. And perhaps this video of NSA Doval also, which is getting circulated, is an AI-generated video. It is fake. It is a deep fake video. And now this clarification is coming from nobody else but NSA Ajit Doval himself.
Right. Also, Siddhant, way back in 2014, I believe, more than 10 years back, NSA Doval had, in fact, underlined on how fewer than 10 Indians are even keen on joining organizations like the ISIS. Do you think those videos, purported clips, also have been distorted to make it appear that NSA Doval, in fact, made this suggestion that Hindus are more keen on joining ISIS?
Well, that's right. In fact, look, in today's scenario where we may not be at war with Pakistan, but definitely ISI keeps attempting to fuel communal divide in the country. They keep they keep attempting to create some kind of a polarized atmosphere in the country, and that is very continuous, and that is very regular, which they keep doing. In fact, our agencies, our cyber security networks do counter such videos, do come up with the clarifications and expose these handles circulating such videos. But at times people, because the technology has become so advanced and has got evolved so much that at times it gets really difficult for anybody to perhaps understand whether this video is fake or real, and perhaps that is the case with NSA Doval's video as well. And since it was getting circulated, and in fact now we have this clarification coming from nobody but NSA Doval, and Manoj Gupta has managed to speak to him, and he has the version of the NSA Doval. It's a deep fake video, has been made to fuel communal divide in the country, and perhaps that was the intention. But now the clarification has come, and perhaps definitely the government of India should also be acting against such handles circulating this deep fake video of NSA Doval.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Siddhant. We also have Major General KK Sinha, who's joining us on the broadcast. Major General Sinha, this clarification that has come in from the National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, but the claim that he's making that this video was a deep fake one talks about how these clips are in fact doing the rounds online, the kind of apparatus that is at play to build a narrative of something that was never said.
Good morning, Jahan. Yeah, these deepfake videos are basically a media tool now, which is AI generated and try to create, a narrative which is absolutely false. And absolutely, I think, it gives you a chance. I look at it in a two ways. First thing, that you are, the media is exposing that, these are absolutely a narrative someone wants to create it. And especially when the time of reckoning is there for the India, when we are going through a very tough time, what we see, what is happening after the daily blast, the way, getting exposed. So these people, this is one way. And the second thing, it will give you much focus to that narratives can't be, actually you have this much. I think someone from your channel has spoken to, NSA Ajit Doval. In spite of the fact that the people who go for these deep videos, they know that it will get exposed. But they do it. So it can be used by us also as a tool to further, go and reinforce what exactly is happening in India. Because it is happening all over pan-India. What happened in Faridabad, it's connections you see more or less in all states. It is in Pathankot, it's getting into UP, it is getting in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is the time, we have to use it in our way. Let them make the details. Everyone understands. This is national, in any video, NSA Ajit Doval can't give it. If anyone just think coolly, you want to see this video, they know this is a deep. But when you, through media and everywhere, creates and reinforces this exactly what is happening, it reinforces what the India is doing and the security forces are doing to defeat the design of not only Pakistan, but there are deep states also involved of many countries.
Major General Sinha, the fact that we can't help but go back to a decade-old statement of NSA Doval, where he had reiterated on how there are fewer than just 10 Indians who are even keen on joining extremist organizations like the ISIS. Now, if we take into account what he'd said in the past to what is doing the rounds now, it is amply clear on how technology is being used to build that kind of narrative. AI, of course, being used for the worst. We have already seen how deep fakes have been completely detrimental to the kind of narrative build-up that we've seen go around, particularly in geo-warfare. And that's something that we must also underline here. Now that the NSA has come out, he has spoken to CNN.
And Bank of Baroda के संग त्योहार की उमंग।
Good evening, you're watching The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde.
On Sunday night, NIA made its biggest breakthrough in the Delhi blast case. It arrested co-conspirator Amir Rashid. Remember, it was CNN News 18 who first showed you the images of Amir Rashid on the 10th of November. NIA has confirmed CNN News 18's news break with the arrest of Rashid.